Hey everybody, Nick Espinoza, your chief security fanatic here, and today we actually once again have to talk about Facebook because multiple foreign intelligence services have used Facebook to their advantage. I've been reporting on this for years, but finally I've got backup from inside Facebook. That's right, it's coming from the whistleblower, and this is reporting by the Washington Examiner. Now here's what's going on. Chinese spies are using Facebook to find Uyghur Muslims around the world, according to the whistleblower Frances Haugen, who basically argues that Facebook's neglect of such behavior is a national security risk to the United States, and it gets worse than that. But I quote her directly. My team directly worked on tracking Chinese participation on the platform, surveilling, say, Uyghur populations in places around the world. You could actually find the Chinese based on them doing these kinds of things. She also continued, and I quote again, we also saw active participation of, say, the Iran government doing espionage on other states' actors. So this is definitely a thing that is happening, and I believe Facebook's consistent understaffing of counter-espionage information operations and counterterrorism teams is a national security issue. Now, Facebook appears likely to face pressure from both U.S. officials and also authoritarian regimes who have exploited the company and fear that the United States, or rather its spies, might do the same thing to them. Now, this is being reinforced by Ivana Stradner of the American Enterprise Institute on the record with the Washington Examiner, and I quote, our social media has been a useful idiot for authoritarian regimes. But on the other hand, they're absolutely terrified of their own wrongdoings. They know how those things operate, what they're doing in the West. And they have this paranoia that the United States or the Western allies are going to do or already doing the same thing as the Russians or Chinese. And this is why they believe that open internet is a threat to domestic stability. That is a very good point. Now, the whistleblower Frances Haugen emphasized that Facebook knows how foreign spies exploit the platform, but hasn't assigned enough internal monitors to disrupt the operations, and I quote again. Facebook is very aware that this is happening on the platform, and I believe the fact that Congress doesn't get a report of exactly how many people are working on these things internally is unacceptable. And she's got a really good point. And this is something that I have been actually talking about for years and years and years now, that we have actually seen this. There's a lot of just misinformation, disinformation flying around. A lot of it is basically being generated by authoritarian regime intelligence services to essentially drive a wedge into different populations around the globe, not just the United States, but in multiple countries in Europe and other places as well. This is happening with just a great amount of frequency. I've written articles on this, I've talked about this, but it's amazing to me, to hear the pushback, from people saying, "Oh no, this isn't happening. I believe what I read, and it happens to coincide with my worldview." And here we are. This is a problem, and it continues to be. And I'm glad that she basically, Frances Haugen, released just a massive treasure trove of internal documents detailing all of these conversations, all of these reports, all of these studies, not just on how Facebook itself, outside of intelligence operations, is harmful for society, but how she is actually witnessing these things and has the evidence that, yeah, this is going on. I remember talking about, the Internet Research Agency, that's the Russian-based cutout intelligence troll farm that was putting out just multiple demonstrable ads. And I've mentioned this here in this podcast and video multiple times in the past, that quite frankly, they were doing, an amazing job at driving a wedge. They would literally on the same day have advertisements that said, Blue Lives Matter and the police are awesome, and, basically minorities are trying to disrupt you. And on the other side, they would say Black Lives Matter and blah, 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 blah. And they would literally drive this wedge targeting demographics, spending less than $200,000 in total over a year to do this, and the results were astounding. This stuff happens constantly. We have personally tracked cutouts, operating from various, agencies around the globe as they are traveling in and out of Facebook and other social media platforms. But Facebook is a massive driver of this because, as always, and we've talked about this before, they prioritize profits over stability, over safety, over security. Even when Mark Zuckerberg comes out and says we don't do that, so many questions start swirling. We are going to see a reckoning for Facebook. And I've done a lot of Facebook videos, I'm going to say, and podcasts in the last couple of weeks because the information has just been flying out there. But this one is near and dear, as some of the others are to me, quite frankly, because it's something that we deal with on a regular basis, and it's a huge, huge problem. So please understand that when you're looking and you're liking and you're sharing things, if basically you are pulling away from your friends or your friends are pulling away from you, it's this incremental change that we see over time that is essentially happening here. And that's a huge, huge problem, meaning every little thing that reinforces your worldview and slightly pushes you one political direction or another is designed to do exactly that. And it's designed to do that over time. There's been studies on this. This is proven. And now this is reinforced by internal documents and whistleblowers from Facebook. It is happening. And if you don't believe that it's happening, I don't know if I can help you at this point because the evidence is there. All you got to do is read it. And please like, share, follow me here on Facebook and Twitter at NickAESP, where you will get misinformation, just hopefully not from me. And also, please feel free to subscribe to me at YouTube as well. And as always, stay safe, stay online, and please stay private. Thank you.